Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Football Show. On today's show, I have a special guest joining me. I have Archit Kohli, a very passionate Manchester United fan who's not looking so happy. He's trying to whip up a smile, but I'm sure he's not too happy today. Good evening, Archit. How are you feeling today?
I have been better. I have been really better throughout the season, but it's a perfect day, I guess, for a Liverpool fan to record a United fan talk show.
Definitely. So, is it a good evening or a not so good evening for you today?
I think definitely there's a huge bitter taste in my mouth after last night's defeat, which is like clearly evident. Like I'm trying to smile over here for you, but like obviously it's hurting a lot. The defeat because it was really shambolic, shameful. So
Okay, so let's move into this discussion. So, I thought of getting your thoughts on this season, how the season has progressed for you guys. Definitely saw progress considering where you were in the last season, and also getting your thoughts into what holds for you guys in the next season. Does that sound good?
yeah, so start with assessing this season. Like when you see the start of the season, we are there in the UCL, we are there in few league competitions. We started off really poorly, but that was also because we didn't have a proper preseason. And as the season developed, we got better. Uh, Crashing out of the UCL, then the main focus was winning a trophy. And we obviously knew that the initial wave of being in the top, in being in the title race is obviously going to like disappear because there's no squad depth per se. But obviously, everyone expected to win a trophy, either an FA Cup or an EFL or the Europa, because now you're not in the UCL, so you need to
Europe.
substantiate your like without a trophy, you can't substantiate success. Even if there's
Correct.
been an improvement, nothing to prove it. Just finishing in top four isn't enough in the long run. Although this is the first time after Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement that United has finished in the top four in 2 consecutive years. So definitely there is progress. Before this, it's not happened. But let it be with uh, distinguished managers like Louis van Gaal or Mourinho or even Moyes. But yeah, I guess we could have actually finished. Like if we had finished with one trophy, also it would have been a good season, in my opinion. The lack of a trophy is what terms this as like an average season for us.
Okay, so we'll start off with yesterday's game. So you started off in the Champions League, didn't progress well over there, landed up in the Europa League. You had a slightly favorable draw. Obviously, you don't have the top teams in the Europa League. You reached the final, and must have been favorites, right? Considering that Villarreal has never won a trophy so far. You have a strong team going in. Though there was the Unai Emery factor, the man who's won so many Europa League titles, I think you must have considered yourself favorites going into yesterday's game. What went wrong? What went wrong at the end of the day when you were such overwhelming favorites?
So, firstly, like I was one of the few people who was like still little dicey about Unai because even though Villarreal finished seventh, if you look back at the 2015 Europa League season, which you all faced Sevilla, Sevilla, that finished seventh as well. And like we obviously know, a Spanish team in a European competition is something which is like almost unbeatable for an English team. Like it's just a, I don't know, it's a jinx or what.
True.
So usually whenever United goes into a match, especially in the past 1 2 years, I've always had a feeling that we should be the strong favorites. But yesterday I just felt a sense of panic in the team. And when your main players, which was Bruno, Pogba, Rashi, when they underperform at the biggest stage, and when Ole he didn't make any substitutions, so just like he's playing for the penalties up until the 54th, 55th minute before Cavani scored. Villarreal was very comfortable sitting behind. They had parked a double-decker bus. And then after that, after we scored, instead of going for the second goal, it was just like, we are playing for the pens. I don't get that entire logic which
Did
Ole
you
had.
have anyone to bring off the bench though? Who was a
Yes,
game changing
we
player
had
that you had?
we had Van de Beek. I see. Initially, not playing Van de Beek makes sense because he's still getting accustomed. But against, I guess against Leicester, against Fulham, and all, when he's played now recently, he's actually showed a very good link up between the defense and attack. The proper ball carrier from the back till ahead, making those quick passes, finding those small gaps and all. That is something she does the best. It would have actually been smarter to sub off Rashi, who was clearly limping and in pain. You could have subbed him off, moved Pogba to left wing, where he's actually played well recently, and gotten Van de Beek to slot in along with McTominay, who was probably having one of the best games of his life over there because he was dominating the entire midfield. That would have actually made sense. Maybe even given Bruno a little more freedom, having Pogba beside him, who's physically stronger, and clearly seeing that Villarreal was so physically dominant, having Pogba up ahead against Foyth and Bruno in the middle. That would have made sense. Or even getting Mata, who is actually like maybe technically most sound player that United has to break down a stubborn defense like that. So there were options. It wasn't like there weren't options. This was just some logic which was beyond us. You don't make the same players play for 100 minutes.
That's true. That is true. But I don't think Solskjaer had the same amount of confidence that you have in these players, and that's the reason I don't think he brought in those.
It's evident that Ole doesn't trust the bench. It's been very evident. Like until he gets his team, like his signings in, he's not going to trust the players who have been signed by other managers. Although Van de Beek is his signing, he had told in the start that Van de Beek will get his chances later. But then the other players who are there, like Marta and all, he doesn't trust them per se to break down a defense.
Okay, so it didn't end up well. You ended up not winning the game and in a very harsh manner with David De Gea missing the penalty at the end of the day. Pretty bitter experience for sure.
Yeah.
So ended up being a trophyless season. And you said a trophyless season is not something that is satisfactory at the end of the day. So, I mean, just drawing a parallel with when Klopp came in, we reached the Europa League final, which you mentioned, played against Sevilla, but that was the first season. We reached the Europa League final, we finished out of the Champions League places. But it's been 2.5 years since Ole has come. Is just finishing in the top four an achievement, considering you were not in the title race? You didn't reach the finals of either of the cups. You were playing strong teams, but you didn't win it. You didn't go to the final in either of the competitions. And when you stood a real good chance to beat Villarreal, you ended up losing in the final. So do you think this is really progress after 2.5 seasons? It's not half a season or 1.5 seasons.
So if you'll see the way we've been playing, like the immediate past was Mourinho. The way we played under Mourinho was totally it was pathetic. It used to put me to sleep most of the times. You don't want to see United play. Finally, we've seen the transition from in his first proper season as manager, we were a counter-attacking side.
Has it changed?
So there's been a clear change in the way we play. Like right now, also against the bigger teams are definitely counter-attacking because we still don't have that entire, I'd say, the creativity to break down a low block. But there's been a clear change in the way we play. We have started playing with more possession, which is important for a big team. Breaking down defenses, which was seen if you take into account the game against Wolves, which we won 1-0, the Pogba's ball over the entire defense, Rashi finishing it. The games against Fulham and all, where the low block was broken down eventually. So we've definitely seen us drawing fewer games, winning more games, losing. Like we've lost very few games compared to the last few seasons. So there's clear progress over there. But as I've said before, there's nothing to substantiate it. And another thing is the change in the entire philosophy. We're actually backing the youth to play. We've seen so many players, like even the signings have been predominantly younger players. You can see that this is a team being built with a larger picture in mind than just the instant success. Like you're not signing a 35-year-old German from Bayern Munich.
Cavani, you're the one who saved the season for you at the end. Cavani is 34 plus, I think. So, who's your striker? Your ice cold Marcia is not scoring anything. So you need a striker at the end of the day.
So having someone with experience is also definitely important. So that's what I'm saying. There's the entire change in philosophy over here, even in the recruitments, where you're not just looking at one group, one type of player. You're looking at the bigger picture. So when you're getting someone in who's younger, you need someone to guide them as well on the pitch. Like the manager can't come on the pitch every time to tell you, do this, do that. So there, someone like Cavani leading Mason and Rashi is very important. We've clearly seen that. Again, for instance, the game against Spurs, where Cavani, we had that amazing comeback, which we won with Cavani. We saw
Yeah.
the link up between Mason and Cavani. So that is something which actually helped the youngsters as well. And even when Mason was leading the line against Leicester with Elanga and Ahmad, you could see that he's being the mature one over there. So that again, I think is something what Cavani has changed over here.
True.
So yeah, there's been a clear change in the philosophy, which is a good thing for us.
I mean, I can see progress. I can see that you're performing better, but I couldn't really see a philosophy change. It still looks to me like it's more of a counter-attacking team. But now you have more game-changing players. Maybe going back a year or so earlier, Rashford was not this finished material. Martial was still up and down. You didn't have Bruno. Greenwood hadn't come in yet. So I think right now the change that has happened is not more because of Ole's philosophy. I personally feel it's more because you have a lot more game-changing players, and someone like Sancho or some other star player coming in, Cavani has helped as well. So if you can bring in one or two more players, I think that will definitely help. But personally, judging Ole, I haven't seen a philosophy change per se. I still see a counter-attacking team or a team that's built around game-changing players. I think that's the way I look at it.
The team's philosophy under Ole has become, like, obviously we didn't see that per se last night, but it has become a team which doesn't give up very easily. Like, if you remember a few years back, the team, like, you concede one goal and it's just like everyone's deflated. And, no one's motivating anyone. And getting Rashi to be the the player he is today, getting Shaw to be the player he is today, seeing even a person like Aaron Wan-Bissaka finally put in decent crosses. I think the credit, like, I just feel sometimes the hate towards Ole is kind of unjustified because he doesn't have something substantial in the top 5 leagues of Europe. Although at Mold, he got them their first 3 titles in their history. And that is something that, we won't, like, if you see recently, Gerrard helped Rangers win their first title in so many years. And that just got so much media attention because he is Gerrard, and we
it's
know
Rangers versus Celtic as well. It's Rangers stopping Celtic as well.
Yeah, but I don't think that getting a team which has never won their league title in their entire history, getting them to win their first title, next season winning the second title, and then coming to England, not doing well, going back, getting to win the third title, I think that is a commendable job in my opinion. So and that too, again, the same thing was that develop youngsters, back the youngsters. So that's in the United DNA as well. So obviously, I like the progress, but you need to substantiate it at the end of the day.
I think that will come if you can win trophies in the next season. Could start with the cups, the domestic cups, because I think the league is still pretty far away, right? You still need a lot.
No, if we get the right signings in, and we get them to click together, I don't think the league is very far away. Like we've seen, I'm not going to drag this a lot, or I'm going to not having a long, fast stretch short, but even when people like Conte and all came in, they were able to make instant impact with just a few signings. Getting the correct signings in and them actually working out. Like, who would have thought Victor Moses for Chelsea in the 15-16 season, 16-17 season would be like so good at the right wing back. But getting just that correct players in at that
even
point
Ruben
of time.
Diaz this season.
Yeah, Ruben. But again, City is something which has been accumulated with like piece by piece, and they actually get the correct fit in over there. And some players click. Yeah, they're like City currently. Unfortunately, it's difficult to admit it, but they're different kind of team, like a much more sophisticated strategy is being employed, which I am envious of as well. It's not only their recruitment, but also their international projects which assist them. So like that's a very good thing. But as far as United is concerned, if we get the correct signings in, the proper gap holes are filled, I don't think it should be that big an issue, provided like Ole gets his tactics right and makes the subs when it's required. A trophy or two will come in.
So which are the areas that you think you guys need to strengthen? I think centre back, right winger, a centre
Left-footed
forward.
centre back, a pacey left-footed centre back like Botman would be a really good signing. Getting a proper CDM so we can move back to a single pivot and have Bruno, Pogba, and VDB as two of the three creative midfielders ahead is important. So a CDM like maybe Zakaria or Rice or NDD is important. And the main position is the right wing because currently we attack very centrally. When it comes to the wings, we aren't that creative because even Mason likes to drift inside. Rash is also an inverted left winger. Luckily over there, Shaw can cover up, but
Yeah.
Adnan Bisaka can't still. These are the three main signings, and getting a backup right back to challenge Bisaka is important. Like someone like a Trippier because he will come also for cheap. So I guess these three signings and the fourth one being like the backup right back is like a fourth priority. But getting a left-footed pacey centre back, a CDM who can actually ping the ball ahead, and a creative right winger is important. And I think that could help us have a substantial title charge.
Title charge.
Title charge.
That's really, really optimistic, I would say. I think a title charge is still a little far away, in my opinion, because I'm not sure if you will get all these pieces. You might end up with one or two, but getting all these right pieces, the proper fit. See, you did get Van der Beek at the end of the day this season, but he was not a right fit or he wasn't used that well. So getting the right players in the right positions is not an easy challenge, considering all the financial problems due to COVID and all the other challenges that are there. So I think the title challenge is a little optimistic.
I think that like until recent now we got a DOF in place, we got a director of football in place to head the entire transfer strategy. Uh, so I think we can maybe get, and as far as the finances are concerned, uh, United has had a history. Whenever we've had a marquee signing, the shirt sales itself have been able to fund another transfer. Like if you take again for example, Zlatan's shirt sales alone funded the entire Paul Pogba transfer. Like that's the thing. So it United isn't like United is a different club when it comes to that. The base is so huge. The entire revenue generation can easily assist in getting the transfers done. And seeing the way the Glazers are faring right now, I think they would want to appease the fans. Unless they're heartless, I think they would want to appease the fans. They've got their team to win the NFL. They've got the cash. They should just use it in the correct place for us. So they've got two successful teams in different continents. I think they should be proud of that as well.
Okay, so considering that you do get in a few signings, you get those pieces filled. What are your realistic expectations from next season?
See, if we actually get these few signings in, I would at least expect one proper trophy. By a proper trophy, I mean either FA, either UCL, or the PL.
UCL.
Huh. See, if Chelsea can go into the Champions League final in a back three where people like Rudiger, Christensen are playing, I don't see the issue. If we actually have this quality 3-4 signings, the team's quality will actually be really, really, really good because we have covered all bases over there. So having a substantial title charge to the major trophy, not the Carabao Cup, not the Europa, the FA, the Premier League, and UCL, winning one of them would be, I think it should be justifiable having that expectation on the team. Even if it's the FA Cup and in the Premier League we are like second or third, but the points difference is like less than 10 with the winner, I think that's progress. But winning a trophy, one of the three major trophies, is very important. It's very, very important for us.
Let's see. I think the most realistic chance would be the FA Cup. If you concentrate on the FA Cup or the League Cup, I think that's where the most realistic chance would be because getting to the semi-finals in the Champions League would be difficult. This has been a very strange season. That's the reason why so many teams have performed well. Surprisingly, there have been a lot of shock winners also. So I'm not sure if we'll have a repeat of that, but I think getting that cup, a domestic cup, would definitely show success, and I don't think that's too far
Yeah.
away.
It'll galvanize the entire team and it'll prepare us for the season after that as well. But it also depends on Ole surviving until then.
That's what I was coming to. Let's hope that Ole survives till then. He doesn't face any major challenges before that.
If it's another UCL group stage exit, I think he should just leave because he's done a pretty good job. His name shouldn't get tarnished by this. Like he's given us a lot. We're grateful to him. He's given us a lot of young players, a good team. Finally, we can say it's a good team. So he's done a very good job, and I really, really, really want him to see him succeed. So let's just hope he doesn't get sacked. He wins the trophy, and he can just shut up all his doubters in England and abroad.
Great. Let's hope for your sake and for my buddy Yash's sake that you guys do end up winning a trophy next season. I would prefer it to be a domestic cup because Liverpool does not really focus much on that. We'd rather go for the Champions League and the Premier League, but I would like that 4 year run of no trophies to continue. Thanks, Archit. Thanks a lot for your thoughts on the United season that's gone on and also what you see coming in next season.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun interacting. Although the date could have been better for this, it shouldn't have been today.
I expected you to come in wearing your United jersey, having won the trophy. I did not expect the title to slip away from your hands as well.
I couldn't wear it.
Yes. Thanks, Archit. Thanks once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.